Bhadram karne vishrunuyama devaha Bhadram pashye makshabhirya chatraha Sthirairangeis tushtuvagum sastanubhi Vyashema deva hitanyadayuhu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, O gods, may we hear with our ears what is auspicious. O ye adorable ones, may we see with our eyes what is auspicious. May we sing praises to ye and enjoy with strong limbs and body the life allotted to us by the gods. Om, peace, peace, peace. A man becomes a solitary. A man becomes a solitary at the moment when, no matter what may be his external surroundings, he is suddenly aware of his own inalienable solitude and sees that he will never be anything but solitary. A man becomes a solitary at the moment when, no matter what may be his external surroundings, he is suddenly aware of his own inalienable solitude and sees that he will never be anything but solitary. From that moment, solitude is not potential, it is actual. The man who fears to be alone will never be anything but lonely. No matter how much he may surround himself with people, but the man who learns in solitude and recollection to be at peace with his own loneliness and to prefer its reality to the illusion of merely natural companionship comes to know the invisible companionship of God. Such a one alone with God, such a one is alone with God in all places. Such a one is alone with God in all places, and he alone truly enjoys the companionship of all other men, because he loves them in God, in whom their presence is not tiresome, and because of whom his own love for them can never know satiety. Thomas Merton. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Ramakrishna Monastery. Our topic today is solitude. Very, very, very important spiritual practice. There are lots of ideas and misconceptions about this word and its meaning and the real spiritual meaning. Are you okay being alone? Do you feel lonely? There's a huge difference there. Are you okay being with yourselves? Are you comfortable? Do you feel lost, restless, tormented? Let us discuss what happens when we are with ourselves. Let's analyze the reason why it is so important to allow ourselves to find that inner space, the sacred space where we are one and whole. Today we are living in a world defined by connectivity, a lot of noise and distractions, and this constant need to remain engaged. Is it your experience? A lot of noise, huh? It is our experience to feel this sense of lack, to feel incomplete, restless, to be entertained and sedated. In this context, solitude becomes threatening because it removes the distractions that temporarily mask our sense of lack. How do you feel about this? is threatening, scary. You get a little anxious. What am I going to do now? Yet, paradoxically, it is precisely in solitude that the solution to this sense of lack is revealed. There is this human struggle in all of us, which stems from the fundamental misapprehension, the belief that we are incomplete, limited entities seeking wholeness through external objects, relationships, and achievements. We often discuss this. We all seek fulfillment in the external world, only to realize that it's always temporary, that no matter where we superimpose our fullness, it's never enough. The truth is that for some reason, we want to escape from ourselves. We cannot be with ourselves. We can't be alone. To talk about solitude today is often viewed with suspicion as a symptom of antisocial behavior, depression, and escapism. At the same time, it is sometimes romanticized as some kind of mystical retreat reserved only for monks and mystics. But if we can't be with ourselves, how do we know what we want? How do we know who we are if we escape all the time? Solitude is not about being away from people. It's about being with oneself. And more importantly, it's about discovering who that oneself truly is. There are some common misconceptions when dealing with the topic of solitude. That solitude means withdrawal from life. To be spiritually advanced, one must renounce the world and live in solitude. Spiritually advanced. Vedanta, you should know, does not require physical renunciation. It requires psychological renunciation, freedom from dependence on objects. One can live in the world, fulfill responsibilities, and enjoy relationships while being established in inner solitude. That solitude is selfish, another misconception. Spending time alone is self-centered and neglects others. True solitude is not selfish because it's not about the ego. It's about discovering the self that is common to all of us. When you know yourself to be awareness, you see the same awareness in others. We'll discuss this. This understanding naturally expresses as compassion, kindness, and service. Solitude, therefore, makes you more available to others. That solitude means having no thoughts. Another misconception. Solitude is not the absence of thoughts, but freedom from identification with thoughts. Our problem is we identify ourselves with our thoughts. We become them. Solitude is not absence of thoughts, but freedom from identification. Thoughts will arise as long as the mind is functioning. In fact, the mind, as you know, is a constant and uninterrupted flow of thoughts. The issue is not the presence of thoughts, but the belief that I am the thought. When you know you are awareness, thoughts can come and go without disturbing your inner solitude. That solitude is only for advanced seekers. Only those who have mastered meditation or renounced the world can benefit from solitude. That's not true. Solitude is for everybody. Solitude is for everyone because everyone is seeking freedom from suffering. That's what we want, freedom. Solitude is not merely physical aloneness or social withdrawal, but a profound inner space wherein the mind turns inward to inquire about its own nature. As simple as that. The understanding of the functioning of the mind is essential in Vedanta. It's a must. Therefore, solitude is a must. It is in the mind that this misinterpretation takes place. When we talk about solitude, we have to make this clarification and this distinction between loneliness and aloneness. There is a difference. They are not synonyms. They represent fundamentally different psychological and spiritual states. Loneliness is a sense of lack, a feeling of incompleteness that arises when we are physically alone. We all felt it. If not, if we feel it. The sense of lack, a feeling of incompleteness, it is the painful awareness of wanting something or someone to fill that inner void. Loneliness says, I am not enough by myself. I need somebody. I can't be alone. It is a condition of the mind that seeks external validation, companionship, or activity to escape the discomfort of being with oneself. Loneliness arises from misidentification. We don't know yet who we are. When we identify with the body-mind complex, a limited, changing entity, we naturally feel vulnerable and incomplete. We then seek security and fulfillment in external objects, including other people. When those objects are absent, loneliness arises. Loneliness is not solved by company. It is solved by knowledge, the knowledge that you are already fullness by nature. I'm not saying this. The ancient sages said it. It was their experience. It is our spiritual heritage. The sense of incompleteness, apurnatva bhavana, is rooted in adhyasa, the Sanskrit word, the superimposition of limitations into the limitless self. limitless self. And it manifests as insecurity, a need for ambition, recognition, approval, and validation. We identify with the body-mind complex, deha abhimana, and assume that our wholeness depends on external factors. And as a result, we lose ourselves. In the Isha Upanishad, we find a mantra that describes the completeness of the divine self being infinite and remains infinite eternally. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. That is whole. This is whole. From wholeness, wholeness arises. Taking wholeness from wholeness, wholeness alone remains. That is from the scriptures. So we have to accept it. We have to own it. I know, it's a lot, but that's exactly what we want. Everything. We are whole already. We are not incomplete seeking completeness. We are completeness itself. Wholeness cannot be produced. It can only be recognized. Let's talk about aloneness. Aloneness, on the other hand, as opposed to loneliness, is the recognition of the self as complete in itself. It is not a feeling, but a fact. The understanding that the I is non-dual awareness, lacking nothing. Aloneness says, I am whole, I am complete, I am enough. It is not dependent on physical circumstances. One can be alone in a crowd or in relationship and still experience the fullness of aloneness. In solitude, when external distractions are removed, the mind is forced to confront this sense of lack. Most people find this unbearable and immediately reach for their phones. Instagram, whatever these sites, and Netflix, any kind of engagement. But this avoidance is precisely what perpetuates the problem. Solitude is the mirror that shows us our dependence on externals for peace. Until we understand this, we remain enslaved to circumstances. We have to learn how to use solitude as a means, as a spiritual practice, a sadhana. Solitude as a means of inquiry to reflect about our own nature, the nature and the nature of the world. We are governed, slaves of laws, and we need to understand the laws very well. We cannot afford to forget the inevitable. We don't need anything external to be whole. I am enough with myself. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 10, Krishna describes the ideal yogi, the one who is content with himself and is established in ekaki, solitude. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasithitaha ekaki yatachittatma nirashira parigraha. The yogi should constantly, all of us, the yogi should constantly practice concentration of the heart. Concentration, retiring into solitude. Find that inner space. Be okay with yourselves. Don't try to run away. Retiring into solitude alone, with the mind and body subdued and free from hope and possessions. Solitude is not an end in itself, but a means for gaining self-knowledge. You should know who you are. You heard about it. Take your time. Think about it. Contemplate upon it. Understand. Take it in. Remove all doubts and be. It's a must. We have to do this practice. It can't remain simply in the intellectual sphere, Oh, I know, I heard about the Atman, Brahman. I know, right? Yes. Tattvamasi. Become. Be. Solitude is not merely physical withdrawal, but mental freedom from dependence on objects for your fulfillment. Nothing external will fulfill you. It will only be temporary. It will have a beginning and an end, and you will get restless for something else. Nothing external can fulfill you. You have to be okay with yourselves in your aloneness. Solitude provides the necessary space for this reflection. In the absence of external noise and social engagement, the mind can focus on the implications of the teaching. Meditation is required, no doubt about it. You have to understand your mind. Keep your mind entertained with the highest thought possible. That is your object of meditation. The highest thought is the concept, an idea of the ultimate reality, the idea of God. But meditation is not enough. We need time alone with the teaching. We need to think. We need to examine, to question, to resolve doubts. Nobody can do that for us. Without this reflective solitude, the teaching remains intellectual. It's just information, never penetrating the deeper layers of belief and identity. We always have to come back to the highest generalization. Who am I? I am the self, the capital self, one with the ultimate reality we call Brahman. You have to take it. You have to embrace it. You have to accept it. There is no way out. It's the only door to freedom. The understanding must be assimilated into one's emotional life. You have to make it yours. You are not the body. You are not the mind. You are not your thought. Living from the understanding that one is already free, already whole. Solitude is essential for this assimilation because it reveals where we still hold into old patterns of identification. Unless we sit with ourselves, we observe ourselves, then we will come to know, oops, I'm holding into this, I'm holding into that, you're getting restless, I need to get busy, oh, I forgot, I need to go shopping. That can wait. When alone, do we still feel anxious? Do we still feel anxious? Do we reach for distractions? Do we feel incomplete? These reactions indicate that the understanding has not yet been fully assimilated. So you have to keep practicing. Close your eyes. Don't be scared. You've been there all the time. You are there all the time. In fact, that's what you are. That aloneness. You are always, always alone. You're running away from it. I know it's like, whoa. But in that aloneness, you are fulfilled. Because it's inevitable. That's our nature. We are the observers. We witness everything. Everything is because we are. And there, you are with yourself. Be okay with it. Sri Ramakrishna, you all know, was a man of inner solitude. He would often say, the mind cannot dwell on God if it is immersed day and night in worldliness, distractions, in worldly duties and responsibilities. It is most necessary to go into solitude now and then and think of God. To fix the mind on God is very difficult in the beginning unless one practices meditation in solitude. When a tree is young, it should be fenced all around, otherwise it may be destroyed by cattle. To meditate, you should withdraw within yourself or retire to a secluded corner or to the forest. And you should always discriminate. This is the point. Whether you go to the forest or just sit outside here, this is what is important. You should always discriminate between what is real and unreal. God alone is real, the eternal substance. All else is unreal, that is, impermanent. By discriminating thus, one should shake off impermanent objects from the mind. By impermanent, it means it will never fulfill you. They are real, you can touch them, you can perceive them with your senses. The problem is your relationship with the objects. We stick to them, we cling to them for our fulfillment. And since they are impermanent, subject to time, they will change. You know that, right? Things change. The only eternal thing is that alone. within you, the self, the witness. By discriminating thus, one should shake off impermanent objects from the mind. Don't cling to them for your happiness. Solitude becomes the testing ground where the truth of the teaching is verified in experience. In experience. There is a warning, though, when we read this line from Sri Ramakrishna, using solitude as an escape from responsibilities. Don't think it's that easy. We have to understand that Vedanta is not a path of withdrawal, but of intelligent engagement. It's not a path from, okay, I'm running away from here. I have to be alone. Adios. Intelligent engagement. Solitude should not become an excuse to avoid relationships or responsibilities. Rather, it is a temporary means to gain clarity that then enriches one's engagement with the world. Solitude, rightly understood, is not an escape from life, but the discovery of the fullness that makes all relationships meaningful. You don't retire from life to find yourself. You find yourself so that you can live life more fully. Another thing about solitude is the crucial distinction between physical solitude, being alone in terms of external circumstances, and inner solitude, freedom from psychological dependence on objects. Physical solitude can be misleading. One can live in a remote cave, far from human contact, and still be mentally crowded with thoughts, memories, desires, and fears. You might be sitting outside in a cave, in the Himalayas, and be thinking, is the tiger there? Who's out there? Distractions. One can be physically alone, but psychologically dependent on the very objects one has renounced. It's all in your head. No, it's hard truth. One may be thinking about the world, craving recognition, or fantasizing about future experiences. I'll become great if I meditate all day and night. This is not true solitude. It is merely geographical isolation. Geographical isolation. In contrast, one can live in a bustling city surrounded by family, work, and social obligations, and yet be established in inner solitude. This person is not psychologically dependent on external validation or circumstances for peace. They engage fully with life, but remain centered in the understanding that their sense of worth and completeness does not depend on outcomes or relationships. Sannyasam means renunciation. It's not about giving up objects, but giving up the sense of dependence on them. One can possess wealth, relationships, and responsibilities without being possessed by them. That's the key. This is true inner solitude. Sri Ramakrishna was a man of inner solitude. We must remember that solitude, while comforting retreat, while a comforting retreat, is also a demanding spiritual discipline that strips away illusions. A demanding spiritual discipline, forcing us to confront stark truth about ourselves and God. Even when physically alone, the mind can be bombarded with memories of the past, anxieties about the future, desires for what we don't have, fears of losing what we have, opinions about ourselves and others, comparisons and judgments. There is no end, right? This psychological bombarding keeps the mind agitated and prevents to inquire and contemplate. Inner solitude, therefore, is the space created when the mind is free from this crowding, not by suppressing thoughts, but by understanding that thoughts are temporary appearances in awareness. They come before you. You are the observer, like standing on a bridge, seeing the water passing by. Inner solitude, therefore, is the space created when the mind is free from this crowding, not by suppressing thoughts, but by understanding that thoughts are temporary appearances in awareness, not the essence of who we are. This understanding comes not from effort, but from the application of what we have heard of, and we have heard enough. I've seen your faces here so many times. You heard about this. We have to be able to find this inner space, contemplate upon these teachings. The understanding comes not from effort, but from the application we have heard of, accepted and contemplated upon, till it becomes yours. When one clearly knows, I am awareness, not the thoughts lose their power to crowd the mind. They come and go like clouds in the sky, but the sky, awareness, remains unaffected. This is inner solitude. Solitude enables us to recognize our fullness, purnatva. The ultimate purpose of solitude is to facilitate the recognition of one's true nature as Purna. Remember the mantra I just chanted? Purnamada Purnamidam. The ultimate purpose of solitude is to facilitate the recognition of one's true nature as Purna, complete, whole, lacking nothing. True wholeness, Purnatva, is eternal, unchanging, and independent of circumstances. And that's us. That's who we truly are. And that wholeness is not a future achievement, but your present reality. So stop. Don't go to the future. Don't go to the past. Be with yourselves. You are there already. Such wholeness is our own essential nature, which is not different than the ultimate reality. Human beings spend their lives seeking completions through various means, relationships, seeking love and acceptance, achievements, seeking recognition and validation, possessions, seeking security and comfort, experiences, seeking pleasures and excitement, knowledge, seeking understanding and certainty. Yet all those, none of those, never provide lasting fulfillment. Each achievement creates a new desire. Each relationship brings new expectations. Each possession requires maintenance and protection. The cycle continues because the seeker is looking in the wrong place. The sense of incompleteness is not a fact, but a misapprehension. It's a misapprehension. It's not true. It arises from identifying with the body-mind complex, which is inherently limited and changing. Our bodies keep changing. Our minds keep changing. Never us. You go, me? I'm talking about you, the real you, the self, not your body, not your ideas about yourself, not your mind. I'm talking about the one witnessing, the observer, the awareness. Because you are here, unless you follow your thoughts, and you are somewhere else. I'm talking to you, aware of your presence here and now. It is awareness, limitless, unchanging, and complete. The I that knows the body-mind is not the body-mind. It is awareness, limitless, unchanging, and complete. In solitude, when external pursuits are temporarily suspended, the mind is forced to confront a fundamental question. Who is seeking completion? Most people avoid this question by staying busy, as I said. But in the silence of solitude, the question arises naturally. And if one has the courage to inquire, supported by the teaching of the Vedanta, a profound discovery is made. The seeker of completion is itself complete. Just as a wave does not need to seek the ocean, it is already ocean, so the individual does not need to seek wholeness. We are already that, just like the wave in the ocean. The individual is already whole, temporarily appearing as a limited form. The form is different, but the substance is the same. Similarly, you appear as a limited individual, but your substance is limitless awareness. Close your eyes, you could be everywhere. In solitude, one sees that all seeking is ultimately the self seeking itself, seeking itself. That all seeking is ultimately the self, capital, seeking itself. A seeking that ends not in acquisition, but in recognition. Did you have enough? Should I keep repeating this? How do we create this space for solitude? I know it is difficult, but here is where we need to give priority to a way of living according to our goals. Is this your priority in life? If you ask me, it must be your priority. It is only when you find your aloneness, your wholeness, that you can live and share, not being desperate, calling somebody to please be with me, otherwise I'll be unhappy, insecure, incomplete. We don't need anybody to complete us. The moment we are complete, we are ready to share. Once we understand that without proper understanding of the mind, we are simply slaves of our thoughts. Once we understand that, this commitment becomes easier. Because you don't want to be a slave of your thoughts. You don't want to be your thoughts all the time, scared, running away from yourself. Sri Ramakrishna says, so practice a spiritual discipline in solitude and obtain the butter of knowledge and love. Even if you keep that butter in the water of the world, the two will not mix. The butter will float. Together with this, you must practice discrimination. Lust and greed are impermanent. God is the only eternal reality. Then, how do we create this space for solitude? We need to intentionally create a space each day, even for 15 or 30 minutes. I can. Give me 5 minutes, at least. Should be 15, but okay. Baby steps. Let us allow to take our own inner retreat. We don't go to Asilomar, Northern California, or you can come to the monastery, you can go to the shrine, but you can stay at home also. Simply close your eyes. Make that commitment. Be determined. This is not meditation in the sense of trying to control the mind. You have to give some other time for that. You don't control your mind, you understand your mind. But simply being alone without distractions. Be the observer. During this time, just be yourselves. Be with yourselves. Turn off your phone and devices. Sit quietly without reading, writing, or even planning. Allow the mind to settle naturally. Observe thoughts without engagement. Observe thoughts without engagement. And reflect on the teachings. I am awareness. I am awareness of my thoughts and not my thoughts. This practice is not about achieving a special state, but about creating conditions so that this comes to you naturally. The conditions for self-inquiry. I'm always with myself. I am complete with myself. I am enough with myself. I don't need anything external to be whole, fulfilled. Then you will see what happens. A divine magic. It's not coming from the outside. It's coming from within you. And it's your decision. In the silence, all patterns of dependence become visible. The mind's restlessness reveals where we still seek eternal validation. This awareness is the first step for self-mastery. It's okay. You will experience this. You will go desperate, but that's okay. There is no escape. That's who we are. And it's the only door and our way out of our misery, dependence, and suffering. Now, the outcome of solitude will affect our relationships and our actions. One of the greatest challenges is maintaining inner solitude while in relationships. Is maintaining this inner solitude while in relationship. You know what? We superimpose our everything on the other. And it's your fault. Look what you did. Look what you did to me. One of the greatest challenges is maintaining inner solitude while in relationships. Healthy relationships require two whole people, not two halves seeking completion. When we approach relationships from a sense of lack, we burden the other person with the impossible task of making us complete. Impossible task. I'm sorry. We become demanding, jealous, anxious, and controlling. Where are you going? Show me your phone. That's too much. This is not love. It is psychological dependence. Inner solitude transforms relationships. When you know you are complete, you can relate to others. No problem. You don't want anything from them. You just share your happiness. Not to get something, but to give something. Not to fill a void, but to share fullness. Not to control, but to appreciate. Not to demand, but to understand. You can give without creating dependence. You can love without needing. This is the freedom that solitude brings. It's pretty cool. And it's free. When you act from inner solitude, this is another aspect, the outcome of this being with yourself, is it affects your relationship and our actions also. We become better. We stay more present, more attentive, more focused. You are fully engaged, but not emotionally entangled. You care about outcomes, but are not defined by them. You take responsibility, but do not take things personally. You act with skill, but surrender the results. Whatever happens, I have given my best. The best of my attention, the best of my heart, care, love. Usually the outcome is pretty good. unless circumstances we cannot control. This is the secret to efficacy, efficiency. You become more prosperous also, spiritually and materially also. So why not? Solitude is not about where you are, it's about who you know yourself to be. It's not where, but who you know yourself to be. When you know you are awareness. And I'm hoping you're all comfortable with this. When you know you are awareness, you are always, always alone. Is that true? When you go to sleep, you say goodbye, everybody. I'm dissolving myself into this dream. We are always alone. That's okay. It's actually beautiful when we make peace with a reality that is inevitable. When you know you are awareness, you are always alone in a crowd. And you are never lonely because you are full. Solitude is not a special state to be achieved, but a natural condition of the self. It's natural. Our swarupa, our own nature. Stop running away. Find your inner peace. It's there all the time. Awareness is always alone, never dependent on objects for its existence, never affected by circumstances, never incomplete. The problem is not what we lack, or that we lack solitude, but that we ignore it. We are so identified with the body, mind, and its pursuits that we overlook the ever-present awareness that is our true nature. We seek completion in a world of objects, not realizing that we are seeking what we truly are. Solitude, therefore, is a means to an end. I was wondering why it was still 15 minutes, because it's not working. Sorry. As I keep talking, and it's like time feels like, I'm present. There is no time. No, solitude is a means, you guys. We have to take this spiritual practice. A man becomes a solitary at a moment when, no matter what may be his external surroundings, he's suddenly aware of his own inalienable solitude. Inalienable. Alien, inalienable. You know the meaning? Give me a sec. A man becomes a solitary at the moment when, no matter what may be his external surroundings, he's suddenly aware of his own inalienable solitude and sees that he will never be anything but solitary. This is the opening quote. From that moment, solitude is not potential. Meaning, I'm going to take a retreat or go somewhere to stay with myself, be alone. Solitude from that moment is not potential. It is actual. It is actual. You are never not alone. Even in the midst of relationships, activities, and experiences, the I remains ever solitary awareness. Objects come and go, but you remain. When this is clearly understood, solitude ceases to be a concept or a practice. It becomes the natural abidance in the self, natural abidance in the capital self, effortless, spontaneous, and ever present. The word inalienable is crucial. It means something that cannot be transferred. It means something that cannot be surrendered or removed. Thomas Merton, in his quote, Thomas Merton, amazing saint, American saint, he knows what he's talking about. In this quote, he's pointing to the fundamental reality that each person stands before God. The fundamental reality that all of us stand before God. No one can have your relationship with the divine. Only you. No one can walk your spiritual path for you. No one can die your death or face your judgment. This is not loneliness, which is painful isolation. This is solitude. Sacred aloneness. It's the recognition that at the deepest level of our beings, you are unique, irreplaceable, and ultimately responsible for your own existence before God. This is the acceptance of solitude as your permanent state. And this is not a tragedy, it is your true nature. So stop running away. Be a friend of yourselves. This acceptance is liberating because it stops the frantic search for something that will complete you. The frantic search that something will complete you. You realize that completion comes not from merging with another, but from union with God in the depths of your solitude. You are already what you seek. You are already free. You are already full. You are already alone. You are alone in the most beautiful sense of the word. Not lonely, but complete. Not isolated, but whole. This is our nature. This is our truth. This is who we are. One in God. The man who fears to be alone will never be anything but lonely, no matter how much he may be surrounded or he may surround himself with people. But the man who learns in solitude and recollection to be at peace with his own loneliness and to prefer its reality to the illusion of merely natural companionship comes to know the invisible companionship of God. Thomas Merton. Solitude is being. Solitude is being present in God. Thank you. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. That outer world is Purna, full of divine consciousness. This inner world is also Purna, full of divine consciousness. From Purna comes Purna, from the fullness of divine consciousness the world is manifested. Taking Purna from Purna, Purna indeed remains, because divine consciousness is non-dual and infinite. Om, peace, peace, peace.